Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. Today I'm going to show you how to play Codenames Duet. It's ages 11 and up, 2 or more players, and it takes 15 minutes to play. Let me show you how it works. The goal of the game is to guess the words on this key on both sides. We'll talk about that here in a minute, within 9 turns. And if you would like, the beige colored ones, that's your 9 turns. For your first few times through playing, if you would like to add a 10th or 11th turn, they have 2 more pieces that you can use if you would like. To set up, you place out a 5x5 grid of words like this. You have a whole bunch of words here. You can use the standard Codenames words as well. The Codenames Duet, they have 2 little dots on the bottom, on the side right here. So if you want to be able to tell the difference between them. You can read the words from either side of the grid from where you're sitting, but we recommend setting them up where all the white bold side is all facing the same way and the smaller print is on this side, because after you play a game, if you want to play another one, and you will, you just flip them over like this and they're completely different words on the other side, and it makes it really quick and easy to set up another game with completely 2 new words, and you don't have to put these back away and get new cards out. So after you have your grid, you wouldn't have this key card in here yet. What they recommend doing is you select from the center here, and so whoever selects it, if it's the person on this side, they select it so the other person can't see, and they don't look at the other side, and then they put it in the stand so they only see their side and this person only sees their side. I've propped it up on a stack of words so it's a little bit easier to see in the video. You can play this game with teams. I'm assuming it's a 2-player game, but if you want, you can have multiple people sitting on the side of a table and working together to give clues and to guess words. So this key card, if you're the person on this side, this key card corresponds to the cards. If you laid it down flat, it would correspond to the cards you're trying to get your partner to guess. You have 9 words on your key card, and they also have 9 words on their key card. However, you only have to guess 15 words. Some of these words are duplicates. They are on both sides of the key card. Similarly, you have 3 assassins. If you're used to standard code names, you're used to 1 assassin on your card. This has 3. So you have to watch out for, on this person, their assassin cards are dollar, smoothie, and polo. They do not want their partner to guess those words. If you do, game over instantly. These beige spots are just the bystanders, and if you guess that, you just put one of these tokens on there and your turn is over. So how do you start the game? You first spend a little bit of time familiarizing yourself with your words and good clues you'd want to give, because how this game works is when it's your turn to give a clue, you can say 1 word and 1 number that goes along with it. So it is this person's turn. They're looking at this grid, and they might say occupation 2 as their clue. And then this person gets to guess, and guessing where you can say whatever you want. This person is not supposed to react, nod their head, shake their head, make sad faces, whatever. You are just supposed to hang out while they figure it out, and it's only when, even if they say the right word, you don't grab one of these. It's when they touch it. So you say occupation and they touched this one, then you put this on top. They can stop now if they aren't sure, but in Codenames Duet, you get unlimited guesses. So if they really wanted, it is not recommended at this point to just start pointing at stuff, but you could if you wanted to. So we'll say they go ahead and they point at this one, and so they're probably not going to just make a random guess, and you take one of these and flip it to the check mark side and put it by the person who just had their turn, and their turn is over, and it goes to this person now who is looking at a completely different grid than the other person. So some of their things, which are green, are bystanders, or even the assassin card on the other side. So it doesn't matter what it is on your side. On this person's side, one of these was also a spy that they needed to guess. One of these was a bystander. So it's different. It's the person giving the clue. That is the person who they're the one looking at their key card, and it's going along with that for whether or not your guess is correct or not. So this is what happens if you guess the correct 2 words. If they said occupation, and clearly director is an occupation, and so validly this person thought maybe that was the second one they were going for. If you're not right, then you go ahead and put one of the bystanders on there, because that's what it is here. It was the bystander color. So they also recommend orienting these towards the person who's guessing, so you can keep track of who guessed which words and who guessed a bystander or something else on one of the cards. And finally, if they somehow were way off and thought, okay, polo is an occupation, polo is my lifestyle, and they put down a finger to guess this one, that is the assassin. Even though there are 3 assassin spots, you only need 1 assassin card, because if you guess an assassin spot, the game is over instantly. So that would be it. That would be game over. But they're not going to guess that. They're going to get the 2 right words, and you move this to a check mark. That's one of your 9 turns, and then it's this person's turn to give a clue. Some rules for the clues. Your clue has to be about the meaning of the word. You cannot use a letter. You cannot use something about the orientation of where it is in terms of where it is on the board. So here's a few other things from the rules. Letters and numbers are valid clues as long as they refer to meanings and not the description of the word or the spelling itself. The number you say after your clue can't be used as part of the clue. Like if you had the word pentagon and you said something about 5 at the end, that you can't do that. You can't say any form of visible word on the table. So for bowl, you couldn't say bow or bow because that's part of the word. You can't say part of a compound word. You are allowed to spell your clue if they just aren't hearing what you're saying, or if there's multiple spellings for what you're saying, you can spell it out. You cannot make an accent, a vocal inflection, or singing as part of your clue. And proper names are okay as long as they are one word. So in the rules, they say you could use Michelangelo, but not Leonardo da Vinci. And if someone accidentally gives an invalid clue, they do 2 words, or they do something that's off, you just take a 1 turn penalty. So you would take one of these out if they did something like that. So we're on to turn number 2. It's this person's turn to give a clue. They look at their side of the key, and they might say breakfast 3. And this person points at these 3 because they're so wise and communication's going great and everybody understands each other. However, this is where we really recommend you look at the secrets of the key card on the back of the rules, because these were all green, and so this person, they don't want to guess anymore, so that would be it for their turn. If you look on this side, this spot, smoothie, was an assassin for this side of the key card, but for this person, it's one of the spies they're trying to have that person guess. So even though this is an assassin on this person's side, when this side is giving the clue with this key card, they can go ahead and guess it. And now they know that their other 2 assassin spots, they should never guess, because the way they create these key cards, there's 1 assassin spot on this person's side that is an agent on this person's side. So they know that was the one. So these 2 would never be these two would never be an agent, so they shouldn't ever guess them. So it is key strategy because this is a tight game and it is challenging often to be able to complete it within 9 rounds. So you want to have all the information available to you. This is what the end of a game might look like. It is this person's turn, and you see most of the green cards have been laid out there. There's 2 left, and this person's going to give a clue, delicious too, because they're trying to get their person to guess soup and butter, both delicious. So this person will point at soup, but then also point at salsa because that's pretty delicious as well. Oops, but no big deal. You go ahead and put one of your bystander cards here. If you put a bystander card out, that ends the turn, and you don't also then collect one of these check marks. Putting that out there serves as your check mark to the end of the turn. Also, we just leave ours out here. Sometimes a bystander for one side is a green card for the other person. So you just place it out here so you have track of the correct amount of turns that you've taken and that was a bystander card for one person and a green for the other. So it can be a little tricky to be flipping them back and forth, but basically they mark a turn taken wherever they are, and if they're in front of you, it's just a check mark to show the end of a turn. You cannot communicate any info on your card. Like you can't say, oh good, I guessed one of my assassin spots, so your green card covered it. You cannot communicate anything about your card or what they've covered on it, except for when all of your spots are filled and you can no longer give clues. So this person, this was a spot on theirs as well. They have no more clues to give. So that doesn't take up a turn. They don't do any turns then. It just goes back to this person who gets to give one last clue. They have one last turn, and they might say margarine for butter. And then you place this out, and don't forget to take this marker to say that was the final turn, and then the game is over. You have won in your 9 turns. If you have used up all of your tokens and there are still additional words to be guessed out here, you immediately enter something called sudden death round, which nothing else is said, and based on the clues you have already given, players may take turns pointing at cards, and if you are correct, then you get to place this over it, and if you're incorrect, even if it's not one of the assassin plays, if this person points it here, clearly assassin, game over. But even if they point at one of the bystanders, you don't have any more of those cards, and so game is over. But you can still win, and it can be the same person taking turns, or you can go back and forth, but you're not allowed to discuss your strategy or what you're working on. You just are supposed to point at cards. So then if this person pointed over here and the person on this side pointed over here, or sorry, they pointed over here then next and covered this, then you would still win. But no more words, no more clues for sudden death round. And that is why, unlike regular code names, for Codenames Duet, there is no limit on the number of guesses you can have in a turn. So it's not the number plus 1. In this, it's whatever number you like. So in sudden death, it's not like you're limited to just 1 guess each or anything like that. For as many there are left, you may point at cards until something goes wrong. Scoring a mission. This is optional but fun, and we recommend it. In a standard 9 token mission, you can choose to score. And all you do is, if there are any tokens still left over here that you didn't use in the game, so we were able to do it in 8 rounds, then you get 3 points for those. So this would be 3 points plus 1 point per turn that ended in a successful clue, no bystanders. So this would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a very good score for a game. If you had used all of these up and went into sudden death, this is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then -1. So you're at 5 for having to end in sudden death. If you successfully finish a standard 9 token mission, try out the mission map. It adds a lot to the game and is a lot of fun. So you can write down your team name, the people that you're playing with, and then you do a little check mark for Prague. That is where you start out, and that's what this looks like. This is the setup. So from here, you can pick a nearby city to go to, and each mission that you choose to go to, you have to pick one that's connected from here because they kind of build off of each other and they get increasingly more challenging as you progress along. So from Prague, you might go to Cairo, and each mission has two parameters. The first is the total number of turns, which is the number of these tokens put out, and then the second is the number of acceptable mistakes. So in a 9-9, you have 9 of these out, and they're all on the bystander side. If you go to Cairo, you still have 9, but you flip over 5 of them, and you still got those turns, but you only have, you flip over 4 of them. You only have 5 bystanders left. That's the number of mistakes you are allowed as you play. So when you are playing, when a turn ends, and if you haven't picked a card that is a bystander, the player just gets to collect a token, whoever gave those clues. And then the next person collects a token for their turn. The next person, oops, gets a bystander, so this gets placed out on the board. If this was like where the cards were. This gets placed out there. And the deal is, if you make a number of mistakes and are ending turns with bystanders, if you make an additional mistake and there aren't any more of the bystander tokens out here, you take 2 of these and you flip them up, and it's a penalty of a turn, and you place that on whichever card, the 2 of them, and that is it for a wrong turn at that point. And for the bystanders, if you had it like this, and you're just guessing right and left, and you have here, and you've used these up, and now you're on to your standard bystanders that you could use, then you treat them like you would in the normal game, where they get flipped over as they get turned to you. So if you went to Berlin and you had some of these call for, you have 11, so you would bring in these extra, the blue ones, but you only get 2 mistakes. So all of these would be on the checkmark side except for the 2 blue ones. And it changes how you play. So for some of them, you have to have a more conservative guessing strategy and make sure your clues are really good. And then other ones, you're throwing out whatever you can out there and are willing to make more mistakes. So that's how to play Codenames Duet. It is a fantastic cooperative game for the bookworm in your life. We love it, so go check it out. Thanks, and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.